All right, hey guys. So today we're going to be starting our FrostyFro podcast. We're not sure how this is going to go, but
No idea. None. Let's
we have no
go.
idea what's going to go. I literally just Snapchatted someone saying we're just about to start recording, and they said, "What are we going to talk about?" And I said, honestly, we're just going to talk, and whatever happens, happens. For anyone who knows us, especially me and him have known each other since we've been like 2 or 3 years old. Obviously, we're very unpredictable people, so who the hell knows what's going to happen? This could be a train wreck, knowing us, but who knows? But we're basically
Yeah,
just going to
man.
talk about, well, like I said, today we're going to talk about sports, to talk about the NFL draft and a top high school prospect in America who just decommitted. But in the future we may talk about different things. I don't know. We're going to go with the flow and see what happens. We hope to bring some people on here to also talk with us and make this thing fun too. So I guess we're going to get started with talking about the number one high school prospect in the nation, Korey Foreman,
Yeah, dude.
lineman
Out
out
at
of
Clemson.
California. I believe his high school's name is Corona, by the way. That sucks. But
Unfortunate. No, it's Centennial. It's not Corona. It's
Centennial, but
Centennial.
it's something about Corona,
Yeah.
California. But
He's
he just
from Corona, California. Is where he's from.
oh oh
Yeah.
oh shit. Well, he decommitted from Clemson, which is kind of crazy because Clemson has not had a decommitment a true decommitment since 2014. That is ridiculous. Almost every school has
Unbelievable.
multiple a year. That's pretty crazy. He decommitted over a strict policy, which I actually wanted to get into, about having, once you commit, you cannot visit another school,
Yeah.
and you can
Awesome.
and you have to decommit before you take visits to other schools. That's, I mean, to some people that's harsh, but to some people that's what true commitment is. If you're committed, you're not going to decommit. And also, Clemson does not process people, which processing means that if you're a low end commit and they say they have a higher end commit that they can get, they have to drop you for numbers, say you get processed, so you don't have a spot. Like if you commit to Clemson and then they say, oh, well, you're not good enough anymore because we have a higher commit, they would call that being processed. But Clemson does not process kids. That's another thing of their policy. Other top schools do it. It's a part of the business. But I wanted to get in, with you this right now. So he decommits. His top schools are USC, Oregon, LSU, Georgia, Alabama. Clemson is still in there. And also some people think a school like Washington and Ohio State can still get in there. So what do you think the impact of this decommitment is? Where do you think he could go?
I mean, I don't know. I think it shows that not everybody sticks to Clemson's perfect little world.
Oh, Will, are you still there? Will?
Ends up at I think ends up at USC, no doubt. I think he for sure ends up at USC, and I think it has a lot to do with him wanting to play with his high school teammates. And his high school, I'm pretty sure, not positive, but pretty sure his high school D line coach is brothers with like with the defensive coordinator at USC. So I think for sure that's where he ends up.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't
think
know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because you think like over the years, for anyone that's a fan of any top high school, or not top high school, but top college program, like the D-line recruiting is something almost every college complains about other than Alabama and Clemson because they get almost all the D linemen. So I think this is great that he hopefully does not end up at either of those schools. Um, so when I look at it, I'm like, USC is the logical thing, but he said that he wants to go to school at Mason Smith, the 5-star from your state, Louisiana, the Squill State, as I call it. So he said that they're going to team up together, a 5-star defensive tackle, Mason Smith, and Korey Foreman. And the three official visits they plan on taking together are Alabama, LSU, and Georgia, which to me, I think I would narrow it down to LSU and Georgia would be the two schools if they're sticking true to that. But other than that, I think Korey Foreman will probably end up at USC. I know Clemson people are still hopeful, but I mean, that's scary. This dude's insane. If you watch his
Yeah, he's
film
a
and his
freak.
highlights, like just
He is a
type in
freak.
Korey Foreman, it's insane. This dude was at, I think they call it the opening, right? The openings where all the elite high school prospects go to that camp. I believe it's
Oh
so.
yeah. Yeah.
So I remember watching highlights, and he faced some people that were this year that were seniors in the 2020 class, and he was dominating them. and he's only a junior in high school. These guys are a year ahead of him, already committed and signed to all of them already committed and signed, and he was dominating them. That's just scary. You just turn this dude's a grown man. I mean, whoever gets him, I mean, I'm hoping it's Georgia or out of nowhere, go Terps, but we'll see what happens. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what I did want to get into today is the NFL draft. So you made a mock draft, I made a mock draft, but I made mine like 4 or 5 days ago. So I'm going to make one on the fly. And obviously you have yours in front of me right now popped up. So I guess we're going to go over the mock drafts and who we think should go where. And maybe we'll get into some brief discussions about like specific positions and stuff. So if you wanted to go over your first two or three picks, you can go for it.
All right, yeah, for sure. No surprise, Joe Burrow at number 1. Heisman, Big Dick Joe. Enough said. National champion, Johnny Unitas Award winner, LSU record breaker, and my king. No doubt. Cincinnati Bengals, if they don't take him, I bet my life. If they don't take him, I'll quit the podcast. Swear to God. 1 episode in. Washington at number 2. You got to take Chase Young. I think if the Bengals didn't need a quarterback so bad, Chase Young would be the first guy off the board. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. I love what he did at Ohio State. I hate Ohio State, but I love what he did there. I think he's going to be excellent for them, especially with that terrible defense. Number 3, I have Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State again. Lockdown corner. Unbelievably quick. Man and zone. Good hands. Can wrap up. Good tackler. Jeff Okudah at 3 for sure. How about you, Chop? Give me your top 3.
Okay, so I'm going Big Dick Joe, even though he's not Big Dick Nick from Nick Foles, the GOAT from the Bears. So I don't know if he's going to win. I don't know if he's going to win that competition with Big Dick Nick. But I think Joe Burrow going number 1, sadly for him, his career could be over. I mean, that Zach Taylor, I don't know how the hell people are going to believe in this guy as a head coach. He went like 2-14. The Bengals had like their worst record like in franchise history, I believe. I mean, I'm sorry for him. He has no line. He has no weapons. I mean, they have to take him. They have to take because obviously he's a sensational talent, but good luck to him. That's just a terrible organization. In Cincinnati, they have no fans. Let's just be real. He's going to be playing in empty stadiums. Like people talk about the NFL playing in empty stadiums in the fall. The Bengals are already used to that. So if that's the case, I mean, his teammates will be used to empty stadiums. So that's also a plus. But on more of a serious note, yeah, you watched him. You literally watched all of his games, all of his home games in person because you go there. So I mean, he has a big arm. He's clutch. He beats 7 top 10 teams. He's deadly accurate. His poise in the pocket. He's a great leader. I mean, he has almost every intangible other than you could say other than this past year, he was a one-hit wonder. That's the one thing people are going to have on him. But other than that, he's almost perfect all around. Maybe not the best quarterback prospect ever, but still obviously going to go down as one of the better ones ever. And for number 2, I'm saying Chase Young because he was the most dominant player. Now he's going to the Redskins, another shit organization. Let's be real. Dan Snyder, they're a joke. So I feel bad for the first 2 picks here. Actually, the first 3 picks. So Chase Young, I'm sorry, but they're your hometown, so at least you'll love that. I think no matter what, I don't think he's gonna bust. So no matter what, he's gonna have a great career, but I don't think he's ever gonna win unless Dwayne Haskins develops and they get some sort of mojo there. But I think he dominated. He had like 20-some. I think he was on pace to have like 20 sacks before that suspension. He's a great hand in the dirt D end. He's great with the use of his hands. He dominates people with power. He has a lot of pass rush moves in his repertoire. I think he's actually scheme versatile, even though he's more of a hand in the dirt guy and more of a 4-3. But I think he is scheme versatile. So I think his career is still going to be good. And also the 3rd pick in the draft, the Detroit Lions, by the way, who are arguably the most shit organization of sports. I mean, this is a joke. Nobody wants to bring this up. Listen, they have the Michigan Wolverines, the biggest joke of all time. Jim Harbaugh, moron, but up there in that state. And I know they're going through issues right now, that state. But the Detroit Lions have been in like one playoff game since like 1970 or something. It's far worse than the Browns somehow. I don't even know how that's possible. But you look at it and you say, I think Jeff Okudah they have to pick. They just lost Darius Slay, and he's a shutdown corner, man zone press. He's a ball hawk. I think that's a slam dunk pick there, assuming they don't trade down. But Will, who do you have going for your next 5 picks from 4 to 8?
So 4, I think arguably one of the players I'm most excited to watch next season, Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson. I mean, like Chase Young, he is a freak athlete. I mean, this dude could fly. He's a little small for a linebacker at 238. I mean, he's a big guy, but I don't know. He's a little tall. He's a little too big to be a safety. I mean, this dude's a fucking monster. He's a fucking animal. He's unbelievable. He was flying around against LSU. He was flying around against Ohio State. I love him. I want to see what he can do. Chose the wrong Death Valley, though. Chose the wrong Death Valley. Doesn't matter. Number 5, coming in with a little bit of a surprise, Justin Herbert. We all know that Tua is the hot hand for the Dolphins to pick, but I think with Tua's injury and people not being able to see him, I think he's dropping. I hear on a lot of boards he's dropping a little bit. And I think the Dolphins are going to sit there and they're going to say, hey, we got this tall glass of water at 6'6", 236, Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon, almost a Pac-12 champ, go Ducks. My friend May Dickens almost committed there. What's up? So I think the Dolphins are like, let's look at this guy. He kind of reminds me of Carson Wentz in no other aspect of the fact that he's got long hair and he's a white guy. So I think absolutely the Dolphins would take Justin Herbert. Coming in at 6, no doubt, Tua Tagovailoa. He's been compared to Drew Brees, which no one will ever be Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the GOAT. Fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck you, Ben.
Oh my God, that's a joke comment. That's a joke.
Tua Tagovailoa, I think realistically, I mean, fuck the Tide, fuck Alabama, but he's got some potential. If he keeps healthy, he's got a good arm, he's got a strong arm. I think all right. Number 7, coming in, a beast, Derek Brown, D lineman, out of Auburn, going to the Panthers. He's a Mack truck, man. He's a fucking Ford F-150. Don't get in this guy's way. Number 8, coming in hot, I got Jedrick Willis, offensive line, Alabama. I mean, I'm not really keen on offensive linemen. I just know he's fucking legit. I don't know why he's legit, but he's fucking good. And the Cardinals suck, and they need fucking help everywhere, especially in their front office. So they'll take another lineman because hopefully a white guy can bring him some brains. Coming in at number 9, D-line help to the Jags, Javon Kinlaw. This guy was homeless. That's pretty sad, but he's okay now. He's going to make a lot of money. Javon Kinlaw, go Cox. Shout out Brian Ellis. Cool guy. Go Cox. But, yeah, I think the Jags are going to take Javon. I think he's a good fit. I think he's going to be a freak. He's a big boy, big run stopper. Huge man on the D-line. I did number 9. I don't know why I kept going. I guess I'll do number 10 and just round it out, and then you can do the same thing. Number 10, go Dogs. Just kidding. Fuck the Dogs. Crushed them in the SEC championship.
Oh, my God. I cannot handle this.
Andrew Thomas coming in at number 10, coming in to replace the old Joe Thomas. It's a switch up. We went from a white guy to a black guy, but it doesn't matter. Andrew Thomas could be the next Thomas Goat on the Browns front line. Hall of Famer coming up next. Andrew Thomas, heard it here first. 6'5", 315. Javon Kinlaw couldn't keep up with Andrew Thomas, no doubt. But fuck the Dogs. Go Tigers. Bachi.
All right, we've had enough of that shit. Well, I don't know what you were saying half the time. Okay, so the Giants at 4 are going to take Andrew Thomas. I'm switching instead of having him go 10 to the worst organization in organization history. I mean, I don't know, in all of business and all of everything. The dumbass Browns. I have Andrew Thomas going forward to the Giants because they always seem like they need an offensive line every single year. Like it seems like it's a joke at this point. But I think Andrew Thomas is the safest pick among O-linemen in the draft. Then he goes from the best university in the world, the University of Georgia. Andrew Thomas.
40 years without a national championship.
With the Giants at 4. I have Tua going 5 to the Dolphins because I feel like they've been tanking for him, and he just passed the physical. I just think Tua, rocket release. I mean, cannon of an arm. He just has health injuries with obviously his injury issues. So I still think the Dolphins. I think he's a better prospect than Herbert, who's going to go 6. I mean, Justin Herbert, he's boom or bust, but I think if he gets a left tackle with the Chargers, they're one of the top 5 rosters in the NFL as long as they have a quarterback. So it's great. Whoever goes to the Chargers, you're in a great situation, but you're going to be playing empty stadium games regardless of if there's actually empty stadiums or not. That's one big negative. You have no fans. Let's be real here. 7, I agree with you. Isaiah Simmons is arguably the most exciting player in the draft. I have him going to the Panthers, staying in the Carolinas. He's a freak, and why not? Carolina, they're in tank mode, so just take the best player possible. 8, I think the Cardinals need to go O-line because their O-line is garbage. They're going to take Tristan Wirfs because I think a lot of teams are high on him. He's athletic. He can play guard or tackle, even though I don't think he can play tackle all too much at the next level. I think he's more of a guard, but can be an all-pro guard. At 9, I'm going Derek Brown. He absolutely destroyed Georgia and LSU. He's the only D lineman who gave both schools problems. He's a freak. He's just a big hoss. I have him going 9 to the Jaguars. And then 10, even though I don't think this is a smart pick on O-line, I have the Browns getting Jedrick Wills. They need a left tackle, and I have them picking a right tackle to play left tackle because honestly, I could see them moving him to left tackle, even though I don't know if that's a smart move, making a college right tackle and NFL left tackle, but it's Cleveland, and I also think he does a lot of things well. He's a good run and pass blocker, and I think that's just something the Browns would do. So with all that being said, who do you have going with your next, however, 5 to 10 picks or whatever you want to say?
All right, looking at it right now, so we'll start at number 11. I think we see the first wide receiver off the board. I think Jerry Jeudy comes in to replace Robbie Anderson in New York. I think coming in at number 12, switched it up a little bit. I think we have Raquan Davis out of Syracuse coming in for the Raiders. Need some help on that fucking D-line since they got rid of Khalil Mack and the dumbest decision ever. Fuck you. Fucking whatever Jay Gruden. Not Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden's John Gruden. Yeah, fuck that guy. Anyway, at number 13, Tristan Wirfs, another offensive lineman off the board, another offensive lineman off the board. Fuck. Out of Iowa, he's a freak. 6'5", 320, big boss man. Love what he's got. Love where he's going. I love what Iowa's got going with the wave, the hospital wave. Super cool, super cute. Shout out to kids with cancer. Feel better. We love you. Coming in at number 14, got Joshua Jones out of Houston. Another offensive lineman. Tom Brady's going to need some help. All right, he's fucking old. He can't throw the ball anymore. Gronk's retired and retarded. He's a wrestler. Pardon my French. And, he just Tom Brady needs help. And Joshua Jones, he's not going to provide a ton of it, but, it's a start. It's a start. 15, Drew Lock gets a new weapon, T. Higgins, wide receiver, Clemson, beast. Love his play style. He's 6'4". He's got great hands. He's huge. He's got a great vert. He can fly. Love to see what he's got. Coming in at 16, C.J. Henderson out of Florida. Fuck the Gators. Fuck Florida.
Thank you.
Crushed him in Death Valley. Crushed him on our way to a title. But, C.J. Henderson, he's a good prospect. He's got a lot going for him. He's coming down a little bit. He's 6'1", 204. He's got a little size problem, but, I think if he gets a little bigger. Oh, no, he's 264. I'm an idiot. Nope. I lied. He's 204. I can't read. He's 204. He's got to get a little bigger, cover those bigger wide receivers, but I think he'll do all right. 17, best name in the draft, no doubt. Yetur Gross-Matos, D-line out of Penn State.
Oh, Jesus. Do not, anyone watching this, do not watch VTG. Do not watch VTG. It's a joke. It's a joke. Do not watch VTG.
6'5", 266. He's pretty quick off the edge. I like to see where he's going. I like to see what he's got. 18, we're going another O-lineman, huge O-lineman first round. Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. He's 6'7". He's fucking massive. He's 364. He's huge. I think he's going to help out with whoever's going to play quarterback in Miami. God bless him. Hopefully Tua. Justin Herbert, if I'm correct. Coming in at number 19, the best cover corner in the draft, no doubt. Christian Fulton, senior out of LSU. Absolute animal. Watched him all this year. He's got great hands. He's quick. He can cover. He can cover in the flat. He can play safety. He's unbelievable. I love him. I love watching him. I'm going to miss him a lot. And at 20, we're coming in at with Jalen Johnson, Utah, another freak athlete, kind of like Fulton. Great cover, great hands, great speed. Great inside and out. Another really good prospect. Bocce, I turn it over to you,
All
mate.
right. So what I'm doing, and I've been making this on the fly. So I'm going to go at 11 with me because he's still on the board for Brian Ellis. I'm going to go Javon Kinlaw to the sorry-ass New York Jets. Man, New York, half your sports teams are shit, but you're going to get a really gritty guy. I think he actually would benefit here. I know they picked I know they need O-line needs, and I know a receiver would be flashy, but I just don't think at this point in the draft, if you can put Javon Kinlaw on your D-line and he'd be a starter, if you have any sort of hole in your depth chart, you got to take this kid. He dominated when I saw him play against elite O-line, and I think he would be a great pick for the Jets just off of best player available. So at 12, for the Will Bem Oakland Raiders, who are Carl Kurse. So I'm sorry for whoever goes to this team. Your Carl Kurse team, which is the Lakers. They were going to win championship, but the coronavirus hit. That's all Will Bem's fault. It's Carl Kurse. So anybody who's on a Carl Kurse team, I'm sorry, you're fucked. So to the Carl Kurse Las Vegas Raiders, I've been taking Jerry Jeudy because he's the best receiver in the draft, best route runner I've ever seen. He's so well-rounded, great hands, a great catch radius. He's great in and out of his breaks. I mean, I was going to make a whole video on him, but it's getting too late in the game. But he's the best all-around receiver prospect I've maybe ever seen, kind of like Marvin Harrison to me. So I have him going to the Raiders. 13, I think Henry Ruggs with the 49ers. I just think that they're going to want him among all the other receivers because he's so fast. And with Kyle Shanahan, I just think that just makes sense. At 14, I'm going Becton because he's the best O-lineman left, and I think Tom Brady's going to want a piece on offense for the Buccaneers. So O-line's their biggest need on offense other than running back, which I just think they're going to go a tackle if they see a good enough one. So I've Becton. He's huge. He's like 360 and he can move. I think him at left tackle or right tackle, wherever they put him, would make sense with Tom Brady. 15, CeeDee Lamb to the Broncos. I think that would be a pretty good pick. The mile high getting CeeDee Lamb with Drew Lock and all that. I just think it makes sense other than John Elway. His drafting's been quite suspect, but I think this could be a good fit for him. Then 16, a guy from Florida going to a Georgia team. C.J. Henderson going to the Falcons. Fuck Florida. Fuck the Gators. Honestly, all their prospects, in all seriousness, not even being biased, they're all fucking ass. And they all get into battery issues and all that shit. Half of them get arrested. I mean, fuck the Gators. I mean, let's just look at them. Dan Mullen, what a joke. But besides that, he's the second best corner in the draft. He has great measurables. And the Falcons desperately need a corner, so I just thought that made sense. Okay, and this guy from the Squill School, who's the most overrated prospect in this draft, so some of you are wondering why the hell I haven't been picked 17. Kalavon Chason. I think the Cowboys, because they just need a pass rusher, and I just have a feeling people are going to think his upside is good because he probably does have good upside. But when he faced Andrew Thomas, every time he faced him, Andrew Thomas literally, if you turn on the film, pancaked him at least 4 times and put him on his ass. So I would take Andrew Thomas. I mean, I wouldn't take Kalavon Chason this far, but I just think it makes sense for the Cowboys to do it. At 18, best running back in the draft from the best school in the draft, RBU, DeAndre Swift to the Dolphins. I think Tua and DeAndre Swift, that'd be a lightning quarterback-running back tandem that would last them a long time. DeAndre Swift, the GOAT, I have him going 18 to the Dolphins. 19, to the Carl Kurse Oakland Raiders, I have Jordan Love because I just have a feeling they're going to take a quarterback if Jordan Love's there. So I just think it makes sense. So I have Jordan Love going to the Carl Kurse Raiders. I'm sorry, buddy, your career's over. You're going to a Carl team. And then at 20, I'm going to go with Gross Matos, whose name isn't even badass. I don't understand what you guys are saying. Like, how's that name badass? Gross Matos. That's just not a badass name at all. I think some people are so idiotic for saying that. I just think the Jaguars are going to look and say, let's just load up our D-line like we used to, and let's just pick him. So, Squill, I'll go back to you for however many picks.
All right, I'll round out my last 32. So, coming in at 21, I think the Eagles here take CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. I think they're looking for a wide receiver, and if he's there, I think they're going to snag him, and I think he will be. Coming in at 22, we got Henry Ruggs. The Vikings get somebody to replace Stephon Diggs and go with Adam Thielen. Keep that double-headed spear going. Get more weapons for Kirk Cousins. 23.
The captain.
23, I think the Patriots get some linebacker help with Clavion Chason. Looking back on it, when I made this, I don't think he's going to fall that far. I think he's going to get taken earlier. But I think, there's a chance he might, but realistically, I still don't think he's going to make it that far. 24, I got Patrick Queen staying in Louisiana, going to the Saints. I'm high on this guy. I know Ben's not, but I'm high on this guy. I like what he's got. I like what he does. I loved watching him live. He was unbelievable.
Oh my God!
Another
linebacker.
Another linebacker, Kenneth Murray going to the Vikings. Vikings getting some defensive help. Rounding out that defense, hopefully pushing for an NFC Championship. 26, DeAndre Swift, going to the Dolphins. No surprise there. Get some help for Tua Tagovailoa. Have some fun down there. 27, we're going Ross Blacklock. To the Seahawks. Out of TCU, D lineman, pretty good, pretty athletic. Tore it up in the Big 12 for a little bit, which is kind of easy to do, but we won't talk about that right now. I think the Ravens come in. I think we get AJ Epineza out of Iowa. I think with a linebacker off the board, we're going to take a DN, get some edge help, get some rush help. And I think Epineza could really liven up our defense a little bit. Coming in at 29, I got Jordan Elliott, D lineman out of Mizzou. Shout out Joe Schmo. Love you, man. Sorry about the other night. Coming in at 30, my guy. My fucking guy. Justin Jefferson out of LSU. I got him linking up with arguably the second greatest quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers. Coming in, giving Rodgers some much-needed help. Got a new target after Jordy Nelson got old and Randall Cobb started fucking the Cowboys. Here comes Justin Jefferson. Bomb-ass wide receiver to give Rodgers some help. 31 at the 49ers. Taking Marlon Davidson, D lineman out of Auburn. Teamed up with Brown. Excellent talent, excellent D-line. Part of the reason they gave LSU some trouble this year. 32, last pick, Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama. He's a little small, but he's all right. Coming in to help out Tyrann Mathieu in that new Chiefs defense. Bocce, I turn it back over to you.
Okay, so you talk about how you love Justin Jefferson. You had him getting picked 30. I'm getting picked 21. So what you just said is a bunch of bullshit. You clearly do not love him, even though he would play for the best quarterback of all time if he went 30. So at 21, I have him going to the Eagles just because they need a wide receiver, and he'd be the best one on the board at this point. At 22, I have the Vikings taking T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins. Shout out my man Tommy, my Clemson boy. T. Higgins, I just think it would make sense. They lost Stephon Diggs, and I think T. Higgins is a great pick, especially at this value. And then at 23, the Patriots, I'm tempted to see them pick Jake Fromm or Jacob Eason here, two Georgia goats running behind the helm. But I have them taking Kenneth Murray. Sadly for us Ravens fans, I have Kenneth Murray going 23 to the Patriots. I just think that they're going to see him and be like, wow, good inside linebacker. 24, just like you, arguably the second most overrated prospect in this draft, Patrick Queen to the Saints. I mean, I do not trust this dude's tackling. He didn't play all that many games. Man. I know he played good against Clemson, but all around, I think he's overhyped. But I just think they're going to take him because of upside, and it makes sense based off need. And they clearly, I don't think they're going to go quarterback round one. 25, I just said the Vikings are going to get a top O-line prospect in Joshua Jones from Houston. I just think that would make sense. Just beef up your O-line. And he's got a high ceiling. At 26, I have the Dolphins also taking O-lineman. They're getting their franchise quarterback and running back, arguably the best quarterback and running back, both in the draft in my mock with Tua and DeAndre Swift. Why not take Cesar Ruiz, who's one of the best interior line prospects from, sadly, the University of Michigan, which has not been producing really well recently. But I think this guy, since high school, has been a beast. He was a highly rated prospect in high school. If you look at him, great pass protector. He was probably by far their best run run blocking O-lineman at Michigan. I think he'd be great with Miami. At 27, this just seems like if they sit there, this would happen. Ross Blacklock from TCU. He's a really good player, another high ceiling guy. The Big 12, he's one of the very few good defensive players. High motor kid. I just think the Seahawks are just going to pick a D lineman from like a Big 12 school. It just seems like something that would happen, and he's one of the best value picks right now. At 28, I agree with you, us Ravens fans. AJ Epinesa from Iowa. To me, before his combine, he probably would have had a chance of being a top 10 pick, but that dropped him. And also, where's he going to play scheme-wise? But I think he's a big pass rusher who can play in a similar role that Terrell Suggs does. And we run a hybrid defense, so we can use him in a lot of ways. He's so highly productive. I think this is a steal at this pick, but this is the way things are trending. And I just think he's a Ravens guy. The Ravens are pretty plugged in with Iowa and their head coach, so I think they would have a lot of information on him. And I think if they like him, they're obviously going to pick him here. At 29, I have Jeff Gladney. I believe his teammate TCU going 29 to the Titans because Logan Ryan just left, and he's a really good corner. He's the best one on the board at this point. So I have the Tennessee Titans taking Jeff Gladney. At 30, from Carl's actual favorite school, Penn State, even though apparently there's character concerns if you go to Penn State. I heard this from a report from VTG Gaming that if you go to Penn State, you have character concerns, but this KJ Hamler is an explosive wide receiver, and they need speed, and they need just a game breaker at wide receiver. He's the best one on the board. Aaron Rodgers needs help. KJ Hamler to the Packers at 30. 31, I have Jalen Johnson, the corner, going to the 49ers because I think if they already take a receiver, corner's their second biggest need opposite Richard Sherman, so that just makes sense. And 32, the Chiefs taking Jonathan Taylor because if they have a chance to take Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins and they don't like the defensive players on the board, why not take an elite running back to go with Patrick Mahomes? So I just think that would make a lot of sense. So that is my mock draft. If you guys listen to, and Will's is you listen to as well, what we think is going to happen tomorrow night. Obviously, we can change our opinions, but this is our official mock drafts that we're going to put on here. But, yeah, so that's it for the mock draft part. So, Will, before we go, who do you think is going to be the biggest riser out of nowhere in this draft, and who do you think is going to be a guy who slips?
I think biggest riser, no doubt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think there's a good chance.
God.
Hold on. I think there's a good chance him and Jonathan Taylor sneak into the first round. I think Packers could definitely be taking a running back potentially. I think Chiefs potentially could. I think, you could see DeAndre Swift maybe even slip a little bit. I don't know. I think those two guys could definitely rise. I think my biggest fall is going to be Grant Delpit. Delpit was really high sophomore year, and he did not do a lot to help himself this year. I think he falls hard. I think third round, maybe even fourth, somebody picks him up, but I think he definitely takes the biggest tumble overall of anybody I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to go with biggest guy in terms of who's going to fall could be Jordan Love, because I honestly have no clue where he's going to end up going unless like the Chargers fall in love with him, or the Raiders out of nowhere, which I'm just going to predict because it's John Gruden. Another one is the safeties. I'm just going to say every safety because other than the Cowboys, who I think could just pick a pass rusher, I really don't know who needs safety all that much. So I don't know. All the safeties can slide, but also Antoine Winfield Jr. from Minnesota. He's a beast. He could rise up. But I think one of my biggest risers is Isaiah Wilson, right tackle from Georgia. He's a goat. That dude is like 6'6", 330, and he's one of the best. He's maybe the best run blocker in the draft. The dude just mauls people. I think people are gonna fall in love with him and pick him in the first round. So I think he could be a great value steal in the later part of the first round. I just think he's rising. So with that being said, I guess that's our conclusion of our first podcast.
That's it. It's a wrap, man.